Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm going to be playing Far Cry 6 for a short session. I'll try my best not to spoil too much or show anything outside of what Ubisoft has already shown, but I wanted to talk about specific aspects of the game for you. You guys here in the community, you've been asking me some questions about Far Cry and all of that. You've been sharing your concerns, and I wanted to try my best to see if we can kind of get to a point where some of these questions can be answered. So first of all, shout out to Ubisoft's PR team and even the devs for hooking me up with an early access code, and even just kind of their approach towards doing it. They reached out to me and said, hey, if you want to check out this game, go ahead and just, let us know. And I was like, why not? I haven't played a Far Cry game in a while. And so the very first time I played a Far Cry game was Far Cry 4. I literally was watching a Let's Play just like this on the Rad Brat channel, which is crazy. And he did something in that game. You know what he did? He actually took out an animal and had like this pallet, the animal, meat, and he tossed the meat towards close to a bad guy, and a bear came out of the, woods and tried to get the meat, saw the bad guy, attacked the bad guy. Immediately I got up and went and purchased Far Cry 4, and I played that game for over 60 hours. Now, 60 hours may not be a lot of time, but you guys may be thinking, oh, why didn't you play more? Well, it's a first-person game, and I'm a huge third-person gamer, so that Far Cry game was able to kind of drag me into the Far Cry universe. Now, not every Far Cry game has done that since then. Far Cry Primal was a game that was kind of a little bit out of my league, and Far Cry 5, I did not like the premise. As much as people may say, oh, Far Cry 3 has a boss and blah, 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 didn't like Far Cry 3 either. But something about Far Cry 6 so far since I've been playing seems to be drawing and pulling me in terms of my interest into this game. And it's weird because when I say Far Cry 4 so far has been my favorite, people say, but Far Cry 3 was the best. No, Far Cry 3 is not my favorite. I don't like it. I didn't play it more than like 4 hours. I couldn't even get into the game. But Far Cry 4, for some reason, I think a lot really resonated with that story. So let's go ahead and fire this game up, and I'll just talk about a few things that I feel Far Cry has been doing, and some things that I feel like, as people who may be playing other games or who may be interested in other games or who can seem to get into Far Cry, things that you could actually take from this whole experience nonetheless. So they have shown a lot of this stuff in the past. They've talked about a whole bunch of this stuff with the bad guy and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, you'll be able to see this stuff without any problem. This isn't really going to spoil. So it's not going to really spoil much for you as you go on. So let's just check this out.
Is only taking through Yarans? It's the outcasts, the poor, orphans like us. He's bringing slavery back from the dead in Yara. You can't run from this.
Hang on. You ditched us. Ran out to the jungle with a bunch of guerrillas.
Libertad.
Now you're back here to recruit for Clara Garcia's local crusade? Come on, this is our big goodbye. Danny, fucking say something.
Okay, so this is where you choose your character. Now on PC, I've been playing as the female Danny, and I don't know why. I was like, you know what? Let me see what's going on. Since they started adding the choice for the male and female protagonist, I said, let me go ahead and, play the female Danny, because I've been watching some previews and some trailers, and I'm not going to lie. I think the female Danny is where it's at, man. I mean, the amount of sass, the amount of character in terms of just the personality, there's a personality that really does work for this kind of Far Cry game, and I think this Danny embodies it. And I've been playing that on my PC account. So I'm going to continue with that pattern. Maybe if I decide, I might go for the male Danny. But the male Danny kind of also, I don't know. I guess maybe the male Danny might be, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it with the guy. Let's see what's going on here. And then we'll go from there. Yay. Throw all the achievements my way.
They got my name wrong.
Danny, you could help Libertad. You're trained.
Would have been career military if you weren't such a fuck-up. Just come with us, Lita.
Aye, you never fucking listen, Danny.
Hey, time to go. Boss waiting. Drinks in Mexico. Dinner in Miami. Coño! Fucking blackout.
Too big for a blackout.
One thing that I really like, let me turn down the volume here. One thing that I really like about the Far Cry presentation for Far Cry 6 is how much you actually see your protagonist. I was going to go ahead and make a whole nother video for that stuff because, you know, the other Far Cry games, you get to see your protagonist. Well, I guess let me just speak for Far Cry 4 and some of the other Far Cry games that I've played very briefly. You get to see your protagonist, yes, a little bit, but you don't necessarily get to see pretty much that protagonist a lot more. If anything, you know, you're just going to be seeing the protagonist from time to time. But here, you actually see your main character a lot. And I think that's a very interesting way to go, you know, in terms of the way that they've decided to go with the production of this particular game. So that's one thing that I would say is a plus for me. That's one thing that I would say that I actually really do like in terms of the way everything is going so far. All right, I got it.
Stay close, Nita. We have to get to the boat.
Okay, then.
When we get to Miami.
We'll say goodbye to Alejo. I promise.
Coño, get down.
Shit, I told you. There's nobody here.
Hey, Rojas, should have answered the call. Next asshole who opens the door is Danny Rojas. Come on.
So when it comes to the frame rate and all that stuff, by the way, I'm actually quite new with using an Xbox, and so I'm not really well aware of you know, pretty much a lot of how you do your settings and how you check settings and all. But you're just gonna see that I'm gonna play this like I know exactly what it is that I'm doing because I've played it before. But I'm not gonna sit here and just kind of try to waste anybody's time.
Okay.
This game is also super brutal, man. It's, I mean, like, just some themes are just like, oof, that's insane. Yeah, don't shoot, yeah.
Shit!
Come on, gotta move.
We need to get across this.
They're going to see us.
No, then. Trust me.
Come out and stand before your home. Any resistance?
There's a lot of soldiers, Lita.
So we take the seniors.
Yeah, I gotta know where I'm going. I'm not gonna sit here and waste too much time. I just really wanted to just kind of push this progress forward. One thing that I don't know too, and I'm trying to figure out, is like how the progression of stuff works. What's like the movement?
Ready, Danny? Get in the storm.
Where the fuck are you taking me?
I know where she wants us to go.
This is so fucked. Yeah, from when we were kids.
This city is on full lockdown. Sergeant, do what you have to do.
So, one thing about Far Cry games, and I'm glad I remembered this, is I was talking to some of my audience members here. I was talking to some of you, and you know, someone had said that they wanted to play Far Cry 6, but they were waiting to see what you know, reviewers and YouTubers thought about the game, and I thought that's a wise way to go, and specifically because of, you know, games like Cyberpunk 2077. And so one thing I want to say is, you know, Ubisoft games on console, I think for the most part you have a decent experience. You know, PC, yeah, they could be hit or miss, but my PC experience has been really, really smooth. But I am playing with a really nice, you know, setup, which is kind of my production setup. So, you know, many people may have different experiences when it comes to, you know, performance, when it comes to the way their machines work. And so, you know, but nonetheless, and I'm playing on the Xbox Series X, by the way. But nonetheless, they usually optimize these games very well. And one thing about a console optimization, and this is the game developer side, you know, talking, is optimization is done in kind of a closed circuit, if you get what I mean. So, you know, this game here, was optimized for the Xbox, if you get what I mean. So every Xbox that has the same specs, if they optimize it for Xbox Series S or even Xbox One S or One X or whatever it is, it will perform in a similar fashion, if you get what I mean. So these are some things that you have to, also take, into account. PC, on the other hand, there's so many different hardware components, different kinds of drivers, all those things that make things a little bit more complex. So I would say in terms of performance with the PC version, with the console version, what you're seeing here, it is a more powerful console, but I think even the other consoles, you should be able to expect, a quality that is of the console power and specs and all of that good stuff. So it's pretty much that. Another thing too, someone mentioned and said, it appeared that the Far Cry games didn't seem like it was for them. When I was wondering, like, how do you mean the Far Cry games are not for you? And they said, in terms of the way the game is designed, it's not fresh enough. So this is one of my audience members as well. Frank was saying this, and I was like, that's actually really interesting that some people, perceive Far Cry like that. Far Cry does have this weird rinse and repeat, frame of reference that a lot of people take a look at it from. But the truth is actually, I don't know how to even put it. It's a lot more nuanced than that. So Far Cry is not necessarily about the open world. I also saw another comment today where we were talking and someone said, just the open world has got me all worn out and tired. And the truth is, it's not necessarily always about the open world. There are other aspects to a Far Cry game, the setting and all. So let me give you guys kind of that same, experience I had with Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 was set in some place in Montana in the United States. Honestly, I didn't like that setup. I didn't like the setting of, Far Cry 5. I wasn't a big fan of it because, yes, I don't live in Montana, but I know the kind of archetype they were trying to depict, and it just didn't resonate with me. I was like, yeah, this is quite cheeky and cheesy. I don't think I'm necessarily, in a spot where I think this is interesting to me. But the setting of this Yara, I mean, all of us know where this is. I mean, we don't even have to say it. You could just watch from the previews, from the trailers, from the language and all of the above, and you're going to see that they're trying to depict a place that's reminiscent of a very real location that we know. And I think that's one way to look at Far Cry. The setting is what will captivate your interest in many cases. Let me shut up for a bit so you guys can watch this little cutscene, even though, you've probably seen it before in the Ubisoft, reveals.
For his family.
Bullshit. Alejo is an orphan.
Alejo's not going anywhere anymore. Come on, Marco. Let them on.
Vamos.
Good man.
Get on the boxing gown.
Let us on!
Gracias.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
going to
worry
skip
about it,
this.
chamaco. Here.
We need to deal with
Fuck.
all of this. I hope it skips all the way till the next portion so that we can just... There we go. Awesome. So I skipped that part for certain reasons. There are aspects that I don't know if any and everybody wants to see that. But, this particular setting, this particular setup is one that, in terms of the world setting, is something that I feel like you can kind of get into. It's quite immersive. And a lot of people say open world, but it's not necessarily just a random open world. It's an open world that's reminiscent of the geographical location. I remember playing Far Cry 4, and it was set in a place called Kyrat. Now, if you are paying a lot of attention, Kyrat basically was like Nepal. They just did this, flip and switch with it. In fact, I'm not really a fan of the name Yara. I just think, they could have given it a much more, solid name. But I think they kind of wanted to just, hide their intention of what geographical location they were pointing to, which is interesting because, only in the U.S. they gave us straight up Montana, but everybody else, they're kind of covering their names. It's just kind of interesting to see how the rest of the world views, or how America is viewed by the rest of the world, and how creative license is okay in many cases. And so this geographical location I like, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan of in terms of, okay, which one would I prefer? I liked Kirat in the way that they did it. It was actually really solid. And I like that area anyways. I've always been interested in that geographical location more than anything else. So that's pretty much Far Cry 6, the setting anyways. Island setting, that this is, an island, big blue ocean, very, very pronounced, like, hey, you're on an island. Now, I also think this might be some kind of an homage to Far Cry 3, which is also island-esque in terms of the way that that game was actually set up. So I think that's pretty much something that, what is that? I did not know that there was treasure here. Well, I better go get it. Well, it's not treasure. It's more like, oh, that's money. Not bad. Yeah, kind of reminiscent of, what you'll see on that Far Cry 3 setting. Because I played a little bit of Far Cry 3. I mean, am I going to be able to get out? Yikes. Okay, I can get out here. All right, let's play some more. And let's just kind of run around and see what's going on. Let me shut my mouth a bit. Ooh. So one thing I'm not mad at Ubisoft about is their maps and Far Cry. In Assassin's Creed, it's a little overwhelming and tiring, but in Far Cry, I can't get it. I don't know, maybe because of third-person game or first-person game or something. So this map is really interesting. You have these, you do the tutorial and stuff, but you have the map basically show you pathways that have been carved by the guerrillas, the rebels basically, and you can take those pathways, or if you decide, maybe you could do something else.
Luarman. Must be Libertad.
I like gathering all this scrap stuff, man. And please, yes, just as a hint, if you're gonna be playing this game, I think you will. I think many people are gonna be playing Far Cry 6. In my mind, I think it's basically one of the most action-packed games that we have this year so far. Some of you may have seen all of this stuff. You may have seen the, what is there? I did not see that.
Your sweat. It's the stink of a traitor. All rotten on the inside. How did I know you were scavenging for Libertad? I smelled it on you.
That's a little.
That's why you died. Here. Over here!
I'm not the only one.
That's what I've been doing. I've been messing around with headshots. So, yeah, practice, they say, could make perfect, huh?
What's this?
Let me go see what that green door has.
Could be useful.
Oh, I don't think I can go in here. But it is guerrilla pathway. Maybe I'm not ready to go there just yet. Is this money? Spray cans.
Get to Libertad. Steal a boat. Sell the fuck out of Yara. Easy. And now I'm talking to myself. Perfecto.
So I don't know. The island things, it seems decent.
Bad time to be a guerrilla.
It doesn't. It's not Kirat, but it is its own place, and I like it so far. I really do.
Not a dozen
I think it's a decent spot that they set up. I just couldn't do the U.S. one. I just couldn't do that. So again, back to cutscenes. So one thing that I really do like is the amount of cutscenes that they throw in, and you just get to see your character. Now, you don't necessarily pay attention, as to how much that impacts a lot of what you're doing. But as you start to play the game, I think what they were trying to do on this particular, Far Cry was get you a lot more acquainted with your character in a sense, so that your character can actually feel more personable. And in this game, your character actually speaks a lot more. Your character speaks a lot more than, say, The Division. You know, if you've played The Division, your character does not talk at all. If you played The Division 2, your character doesn't even talk at all either. You know, so that's also another really interesting thing as well, is, you know, your character either speaking or not speaking. And I think your character speaking constantly gives you some level of, I would say, adds a little person to, you know, the digital character, and you can maybe, I don't know, connect with the character, maybe get fond of the character, whatever it is. But, you know, I'm glad I've gotten here, because this is what's going to give me some more opportunity to do some free roam. That's what I want to do, though. I want to do some free roam and reduce as much spoilers as I'm actually talking about the game. But this video has already run 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do like a 1 hour Let's Play. I'm not the Rad Brad, but I wanted to show you guys what this game was about to an extent anyways. And I wanted you guys just to, you know, see what the Far Cry world looks like. It is the one of very few, you know, first-person games that I would play. Metro Exodus, Far Cry. I don't even know any other FPS game that I've played that I've actually enjoyed, if you were to ask me. But I just know for certain that these are the two. It's only Metro Exodus and Far Cry that I know are FPS games that I'll play. For some strange reason, I think after I started the Far Cry 4 thing, I've just been looking for a Far Cry game that really does work along the lines of that. But I'll continue this whole conversation. I'll probably continue on my PC playthrough and some of the progress I have there, and I'll show you some really, really cool equipment, some really cool stuff. Some of you are going to like Far Cry when I show you some of this stuff. You're going to be like, yeah, I got to check that out. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for engaging me. Leave comments, leave questions, and all that good stuff. I'm very happy to, you know, discuss Far Cry, because, you know, it has some things I like. And for a third-person shooter person like me to be playing Far Cry, those of you who are third-person shooter people, I think you have a lot of questions that I might be able to answer, and I would love to answer them if possible. So thank you guys so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys a lot. Hopefully we'll see in another one. Peace out.